as I was saying, Han and Chewie, you saw them on the ship, and it was cool to see them again. Yeah, a lot of flood of memories came by through my brain, and I just, it was a great piece of nostalgia for me. But to be honest, my favorite character in all of these films is Luke. Of the human characters, it's Luke because he was the one that had the journey in the first three films. Not the prequels, in the original, but Han, it was great to see him again. It's not like he has nothing to do in the film. He has a lot to do in the film. So people got to stop bitching about him being old. He kicked more ass being old than Liam Hemsworth did in any of the Hunger Games films. But anyway, yeah, him and Han meet Finn, and there's a lot, and Ray, unfortunately, that Deadwood. And they talk about how the Force, it was all of the things. Oh, I thought the Force and Jedi's and the Sith and everything was a myth. And he's like, no, it's true, all of it, which is fine. I don't care. I didn't see that in the trailers because I only saw one trailer for this movie. I didn't see all four of them. I saw like one or two. I didn't see all of them. I don't see trailers anymore because a lot of them are bullshit. They spoil half the movie in the trailers. Look at Terminator Genesis. Anyway, you get the other character. Poe kind of disappears for a while because Oscar Isaacs was doing other films, so he had an excuse not to be in the film for a while. So anyway, but Kylo Ren, people give him a lot of shit, but I think he's a better villain than some of the villains we got in the prequels. Because who did you have in the prequels? Darth Maul, cool, but he dies in the first movie, so we didn't get to see much of him. Count Dooku, awesome actor, but he's underused until the very end of Episode 2. Episode 3, you got, okay, the Emperor, Palpatine. Ian McDermott knocks it out of the park, and he's definitely not, he's no Kylo, Kylo Ren is not as good as him. But did people expect him to be the next Darth Vader? No. That's not what I expected when I went to go see this movie. I knew he was going to be a good villain, but not the best of all time. And the fact that he's Han's son, yeah, spoiler, is doesn't bother me because I'm like, I read that in the books. If you read any of the books after Return of the Jedi, there's plenty of books that have Han and Leia having a son. So that made sense to me. And, you know, I don't know what people are complaining. Kylo Ren was going to kill Rey. He had two chances to kill Rey. The scene in the forest where he just like grabs his lightsaber and puts it right to her neck, and he's ready to go to town on her. And then there's another part where he just like uses the force on her and she just stuns. Yeah, that's your hero, people. That's your badass heroine in your Star Wars movie that she gets knocked out by the force in like 2 seconds. And I know Brian is going to agree with me. I don't care. This is my review, my defending, my thoughts, my passion, my fire, my video, and my channel. So that's for any of these people that are going to give me flack for this, which I know I am going to get it. But you know what? I am a Star Wars fan to the end, and I will defend this franchise no matter what. Anyway, the film goes on. You get a lot of space battles, awesome things. Just seeing the Millennium Falcon flying again was an awesome freaking experience. I felt like I was a kid again in that part. And people are like, wait a minute. If you're so pumped up, why aren't you hating on this movie? Because there's a lot in it that they did right. For fuck's sake, this is the first Star Wars movie since Revenge of the Sith. Yes, that was better, but this wasn't terrible. It wasn't even that disappointing either for me. I've seen worse. I saw Jupiter Ascending, and that did everything wrong. This at least tried, or it did. Like Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. At least the movie made an attempt, you know? Was I really expecting a plot that was going to be completely different? No. I can see things before they happen, so I knew that this was going to be some retcons of other things. But, it still feels like Star Wars. Anyway, what Rey gets captured. Finn and Poe and them have to go rescue her because Poe comes back after disappearing for a while because Oscar Isaac was doing other films, like I said before. They try to go and rescue her. Han and Chewie tag along. Finn talks to him and he's like, "Oh, how we're gonna distract them?" And he's like, "We'll use the Force." And then Han's like, that's not the way the Force works. And see, there's some zingers in there. There's some actual original jokes in this movie. They didn't copy jokes from the other films. They're going to always say in these films, may the Force be with you, or I got a bad feeling about this, or the word droid, or the dark side or the light side or whatever. That's freaking continuity of the original trilogy. That has to be preserved. Anyway, they have to catch up with her. She's tied up to this chair. This scene kind of upset me because I already hated the character. And when she gets the Force like out of nowhere, to be honest, I didn't buy it. She's like this. on, lying down, and a freaking stormtrooper appears. Yeah, it's Daniel Craig. I didn't know that was him in a stormtrooper gear, and she uses the Force to trick him and says, "You will get release me from these restraints, and then you're gonna drop your gun." And he's like, "I'm gonna release you from the restraints," and I'm like, I didn't buy it. This isn't like Obi-Wan when he said, "You don't need to see our identification." That's always gonna be better. I was never expecting this chick to even carry a candle to what Alec Guinness did in the original trilogy. And yes, he was British, but to his credit, the guy was already an established actor before he did Star Wars. So that take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, that scene, at least it's short, but I don't buy that this chick is the chosen one. There's a scene later that they go to this kind of cantina that looks like the one from A New Hope, but to its credit, they didn't steal the music from the original film, and they didn't have the musicians, and they didn't have the guy get his arm cut off. No, they didn't have that. They had this kind of cute little alien, orange alien with goggles, voiced by Lupita Nyong'o from 12 Years a Slave. She did a decent job for what she had to do. She had to play an alien. I thought she was fine, and they find Luke's lightsaber, his blue lightsaber from Empire, because the green one, I guess he threw it out in the Death Star. Anyway, they find it. She has a flash. There's this bright freaking flash, and you see Luke's hand touching R2D2, and in the desert with a cloak over him. And that was the coolest imagery. The imagery in the film was really well done. I'm tired of people saying that, "Oh no, it doesn't look like shit. It's a good looking movie, but it needed more, and it was kind of, it was insulting." This movie did not insult me the way Jupiter Ascending did, or Avatar, or any of these other movies. And anyway, the characters, I knew these new characters were not going to hold a candle to the original because I have so much love for the original. Look at Vader right here. See? Does that look like a Force Awakens bed sheet? A pillowcase? No, it's the original Darth Vader, the OG. I have always said this from the very beginning when I reviewed the other films. This entire saga is about Anakin Skywalker and his family. They are the McMahons of outer space, of the whole Star Wars universe. Everything connected to the prequels and the original trilogy and this new film and the next two films is all about the Skywalkers. Not Ray, not freaking Finn, not the freaking this other stuff. The Skywalkers are the reason that these movies work in the freaking first place. Because the Force is connected to each one of them. First Anakin, then Luke, and even Leia. Even though she never used the Force the way Rey does, it's like, oh, we got to have a strong female, so let's just throw her in there, thrust her in there. I don't want it. I don't buy it. Katniss did not need Force powers to be a badass, and she didn't have a stick. She had a bow and arrow and a freaking wit. That's all she needed. Anyway, you get to the plans that they want to build this new Death Star that is bigger. It's called the Star Killer. Wink, wink. That's a nod to that was Luke Skywalker's last name that Lucas wrote before it was put on film. His name was Luke Starkiller, and originally he was going to be a girl. Yeah, I am one of the biggest nerds of Star Wars ever. Look at my wall. I got an Episode One poster right there. I got a poster of C-3PO right there. I have a poster over here from the original trilogy. I know you could barely see it because it's dark, but see, I'm a fan for life. Once you're a Star Wars fan, you can never turn your back. The prequels didn't kill my love for the originals, and this film didn't either. Why? Because it entertained me despite its problems. But let me get to my second problem because this is going to be sporadic. It's not going to be everything in the film. I don't want to spoil the whole movie for you. The third act happens. Kylo Ren is frustrated. He takes his mask off. You see his long dark hair, and I'm like, oh, thank God it wasn't Luke. He meets up with his father, Han Solo. And this is the scene that everybody spoiled in the freaking internet. Take this, you freaking trolls that did that. You are a bunch of assholes. You spoil everything. A Star Wars movie has never been spoiled before, and you wanted to do it now. So go fuck yourselves, trolls that did that. And those people that bitched about it, that saying that this movie is a piece of shit, that it's the worst movie ever made, that it should have never happened, and no, you can go screw yourselves too, because I'm sorry. I'm going to defend this movie because it did a lot of things right despite its two major problems. So, like I was saying before, that I got that out of the way because I'm tired of the freaking bitching about this. So it just pushed me to my boiling point, and you do not want to see me angry. Trust me. But anyway, He talks to his son. They have a bickering. I do agree with B movie Mike that this was kind of a a cop out in a way. Han talks to Kylo Ren. They exchange. He's like, "Dad, help me." I don't know. I'm very confused. It was relatable to me. I don't want another copy of Darth Vader. You cannot do better than him, or Darth Maul, or freaking Anakin when he turns evil. Before he becomes Darth Vader. Before he gets burnt. He takes his lightsaber, puts it through Han's shoulder, I believe, or heart. I don't know. And then Han falls into the freaking like where there's a bridge between them. He falls through. There's a smoke. There's like clouds. You don't know if he died or not. I don't think he did. Maybe he did. I don't know. But it upset me only because I'm like, oh, they had to kill a character off, or try to K-Fed kill him off, and I'm like, yeah, that kind of bothered me. But I didn't hate the film because of that, because Han was never my favorite character to begin with. I enjoy Han. I love Harrison Ford. He will always be Han. That spinoff they're doing will not be as good because it won't be Harrison. But that bothered me too. I admit that. I admit that to the entire freaking universe. They shouldn't have done that. It should have been either Kylo Ren used the Force and knocked Han away and knocked him on the ground and that was it, or Kylo Ren should have just walked away. That would have been better for him. Not let Han fight him and then die, and then maybe he would have died like a champ. But that scene did bother me, and I wanted to keep it a secret. But I'm not too sure that he died. I think it was a cop out. Or maybe he we'll see what happens in the next film. But anyway, that bothered me. But the rest of the film, with the rebel pilots, well, I mean the resistant pilots, you got a bunch of familiar faces that I liked. You got Admiral Akbar, you got Leia. I loved seeing Carrie Fisher in this movie. Seeing her again was a piece of nostalgia that I hold dear. She will always be the best, the biggest badass female in this entire franchise. No matter what you say about Mara Jade or Arden Lynn or Padme Amidala or Rey, this Leia made this cool before it was. She made being a badass heroine cool before everybody else. So I gotta say that right now. Carrie Fisher's still awesome. I don't care how big she got; she's still grade A compared to Daisy Ridley. Seeing her and Han again was a treat. I was like, wow, you guys still got that spark from way back in the 70s and in the 80s. And their plans, how they like going to take down this new Death Star, the Star Killer, didn't bother me. Oh, it's rehash. Yeah, but you know what? It wasn't insulting me. At least it wasn't beat for beat dialogue from the original film. That would have pissed me off. The score in this movie, good. I loved hearing the dun, 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 dun. I want to hear that. I need that. I need that in my life. Because without Star Wars, I would have never seen Avengers or Guardians or Ice Pirates or Spaceballs or Forbidden Planet or all these sci-fi movies. I am a sci-fi fanatic. That's why this movie means something to me. It does, okay? You action junkies that all you want to do is live in the past, and you know who you are, YouTube users. You know who you are. Wink, wink. I unsubscribe to your asses. You can't live in the past. This is our future, and I'm not going to turn back on it just because I had two problems. You would have to bore the shit out of me in the next film in order for it to be a bad movie. That is the one thing you cannot do to me. You can have flawed writing, you can have flawed direction, you can have performances that are not the greatest, but if you bore me, your movie dies. Okay? Anyway, you see Leia and Admiral Akbar from the original. You see Nim Num, who was Lando's co-pilot at the end of Return of the Jedi. You see the girl that was the. You have what's her face? Carrie Fisher's daughter. She was one of the girls in Scream Queens with the earmuffs. She has like one line. It was good to see her there. You got Greg Grunberg. Yeah, the chubby guy that was in Big Ass Spider. I liked seeing him there. It was cool to see him in a big budget movie like this. It was cool. The fight at the end was awesome. Finn at least gets some good shots in. When he's using a lightsaber, he's like a boss. He's cutting the freaking lightsaber right through a stormtrooper, and he's being a badass. He has this serious face, and he's ready to go. He's awesome. You know what Han gives Rey? This freaking little pea shooter that goes pew 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 pew, and I'm like, yeah, kind of a Men in Black reference. There's two Men in Black references in this movie, and the people didn't mention that, huh? Huh? Yeah, they didn't mention that there was two references to Men in Black in this movie. You got that little pea shooter. It's not as small as the one in Men in Black, but it's like about this size, and she uses it. And then there's these creatures that appear in like the middle of the film, the scene where Han and Chewie and the Millennium Falcon and these Asians show up, and they like, oh, you're a smuggler, Han, blah blah blah. It's the Asian guys from the raid, and then these creatures come out of nowhere and swallow them up. It's kind of like the scene in Men in Black 2 that I saw in the trailer. I think it's in the train station that the creatures are like swallowing up, this big creature swallowing up the train. That was kind of interesting. It was something different. I didn't see that in the other trilogies. And, yeah, the guys from the raid should have done some flips and martial arts, but hey, you can only do what you have to take what you can get. At this point, you can't expect a Star Wars movie to be perfect. I never thought that this would be perfect. The original trilogy is perfect to me because I have no problems with it, with the casting, the directing, the writing, or anything. And despite its low budget, especially the first one, I love that movie to death. And nothing will ever change that. Not 10 years or 20 years from now. Anyway, the climax of the film. Kylo Ren is pissed off. He takes his mask off. He's like, fuck this. I don't need a mask. I'm going to take down these people. And I'm gonna finish what you started, Darth Vader. You see Darth Vader's helmet, and it's melted, and it's got like a crack in it. Cool. And you hear that freaking awesome Empire Strikes Back music. Dun, 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 dun. Awesome. You want to homage Star Wars fans? You want to give them. Let's remind people of the good stuff of Star Wars. Not Jar Jar Binks that people bitched about. Not freaking midichlorians. Not the pod race. Not the freaking the taxation of trade routes or the other things in the prequels. I don't even hate the prequels. But I thought Rey was more annoying than Jar Jar because Jar Jar, when I was 14, I thought he was fine. Oh, Himisa, it didn't bother me. Racist my ass. Give me a break. This is 2016 and that was 1999. People, you should get over your racist bullshit now. Especially the thing at the Oscars when they said, oh, this Oscars is going to suck this year because it should be more diverse. Why? There was no one that gave a great performance that was like black or Hispanic last year that was even mentioned. If they didn't get a nomination, too bad. There's always next year. But anyway, this is not about the Oscars. This is about episode 7. A movie that, yes, it's flawed. And I knew that going in. This little guy is not one of the flaws. C3PO and R2D2. Seeing these guys again was a great treat for me. He has a red arm. Didn't bother me. It was something different. Anthony Daniels still kicks ass as C3PO. The guy can still do the voice like he did back in 1977. He's done the voice on the cartoons and the Lego short films and everything. The guy's the man. He will always be C3PO. R2D2. He wakes up because he feels Luke's presence. He knows Luke is alive. He wakes up. I loved hearing. It was a blast from my past. And I don't think BB-8 replaced R2, but he was a nice addition. He or she, whatever. Cute little robot. Love this little guy. And I think he's just fun to watch. And he doesn't talk in a British accent. Anyway, climax, final battle. Finn fights Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren's like, oh, wait a minute, I know you. And he's like, oh, you're a traitor. You betrayed the First Order. They fight. He knocks down. He fucks up Finn. He falls to the ground. And then, of course, who has to take the lightsaber? Your bitch lead hero. I'm sorry. I'm going to call her that because this was not needed. I'm sorry, Abrams. This is not the direction I wanted for a Star Wars movie. Harry Potter, pirates, whatever, that's fine. Those are based on books. This is a saga. These movies change lives. And this is what you do for your climax it didn't bother me, the climax. It's just I wish Kylo Ren would have kicked her ass and killed her. No. Instead, she has the Force, she grabs the lightsaber, fights Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren's like, guess what? I want you, let me train you. I can make you stronger than you can ever imagine. And she's like, no way. The fight ends in a draw, so I can say that right now. They fight in this freaking snow mountain. The ground is about to crack, and Kylo Ren doesn't die. He stays in the edge, and Rey can't even do anything about it. Yeah, that's your hero, ladies and gentlemen. You get what you pay for. But anyway, the ending of this movie was great. Also, when Kylo Ren first, after he get disposes of Han, or so we think. I don't know. That's not official. Remember, Bucky didn't die in the first Avenger, so that was a cop out too. Anyway, Chewbacca shoots him with a crossbow right in the, right in the stomach, like around here, his abdomen, and he does this. That was awesome. It's something different. Oh my god, they did that in a Star Wars movie, and it didn't bother me. Yeah, because I will defend this movie. I'm not just wearing my nostalgia glasses. I'm not. I'm seeing it through a different perspective. The one thing that was missing in the film is that Lucas didn't write this film or direct it. But even then, people would have still bitched about it because they bitch about everything. Anyway, Climax, Kylo Ren escapes. He wanted to kill Han so that he can prove to Snoke that he wants to be evil, that he is going to go for that he's going to kick ass and take names. And then at the end, Rey is like, "Oh, we're going to find Luke." She talks to Leia, they hug, and she says, "May the Force be with you." Rey flies off with Chewbacca in the seat. Yes, I do miss Han, but I think we're in good hands. Believe me. The ending, I think I've said enough spoilers about that. Everybody knows what happens at the end. It's not really that big of a spoiler. It's not like life changing anyway. You get to see Luke. He's on this mountain, very well shot. It reminded me of Lord of the Rings. I don't know where they filmed it, but it was great. You have Luke. He's standing behind. You only see him for a minute. Luke is with a robe, just like he was at the beginning of Return of the Jedi. He turns around. Ray gives him the lightsaber. His face was freaking magnificent. It was better than any acting Ray did in the entire freaking movie, Daisy Ridley. That look in his face, like, yes, I did feel what happened to Han. I did feel what's happened, to the galaxy, that, it wasn't restored to peace. That, after Return of the Jedi, there was more evil because let's face it, people, in the real world, evil still will always exist until this world is gone. So that's how I interpret it. And you see Luke, he takes off his hood, he takes off his hoodie, his hair is old, he has a beard, and it's just you hear that fantastic music from A New Hope. I got chills in the theater. There's no dialogue. Ray doesn't say anything. Luke doesn't say anything. It's just atmosphere. And I breathed that in. And that was one of the most awesome moments in the film. That 1 minute with Luke at the end, just seeing Mark Hamill give a spectacular, expressive face and just saying that, wow, yeah, we got to see Mark Hamill in his old age, and he's still Luke Skywalker. They didn't recast him. It was great to see, and John Williams' score still kicks ass in this movie. And then when the movie ended, everybody applauded. Was I expecting anything less? No. I applauded too. I will always support this franchise. The only Star Wars movie I ever hated was the Clone Wars movie from 2008 because they didn't even try. That was animated. It was boring. It was too short. It didn't have John Williams' score. Half the cast was missing from the prequels, and the movie was just a TV movie on the big screen. Laziness. This at least had something. Okay? And people like, oh, you're just a blind fanboy. You're gonna just defend crap. Look at the poster. Do you see Ray on that poster? Wait, no. It's the First Order, Kylo Ren, and Phantasma and the freaking stormtroopers that burnt the village, which I thought that was ballsy. This film feels like a PG-13 film. It doesn't feel watered down for kids because I don't think a Star Wars movie needs to be catered to just children. It can be catered to teens and adults and old people that watched the original trilogy. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the Force Awakens for me. Like I said, my problems. You didn't have to K-Fed kill off Han, and I don't like Daisy Ridley. She gave me more problems than anything in the plot could have ever done. Yeah. Remake of A New Hope by ass. This girl just should not be in a Star Wars movie. And this better be the last franchise she ever does. Okay? I've already suffered through Kristen Stewart and Sofia Vergara and Teresa Palmer and Abby Cornish and a bunch of other people, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm tired of this Hollywood. Give me only what I want, entertainment value. This film has a lot of entertainment value. The special effects are fantastic. It's well directed. You can see what's going on. Some of the other characters, BB-8, Poe, Kylo Ren, Finn, they work. They're not as good as the original trilogy. I never was expecting that because guess what? The original trilogy is classic. Let me go get it because just in case people don't, believe me that I love the original trilogy. These movies mean everything to me. This is my cinematic heart. Everything that George Lucas created in this franchise, the original unaltered versions, which by the way, Lucas, just a little knock you down a peg, you cannot take this away from us. We will always have the original versions, whether you like it or not. I got the original VHS covers, and I want to show every one of them because I haven't shown them in a long time. A New Hope. You never remade this. That movie did things a little different. Yes, it had some nods to A New Hope, but still, it did its own thing. It's not like It's not like Han Solo was training Rey in the ways of the Force. No, she just gets it out automatically. It's like she's on autopilot, and then bam, you give her the Force out of nowhere. No, that doesn't work. Empire. People said that this movie's better than Empire. No, this is the one of the best sequels ever made. I still prefer Jedi because I saw it more, but because this ends in a cliffhanger. Only a little nitpick. I still think the movie is perfect. There's Leia, the only badass hero I need in this female hero. And I'm not sexist, okay? I've watched Supergirl since October of last year, and I love Melissa Benoist because they didn't make her overpowered and a fan fiction character, and she's gorgeous. Okay, so enough of that squashing. Yeah, that's to squash that bug that's been in my ear for the last freaking month and a half. My favorite Star Wars movie. You will never top this. This is freaking perfection, a cinematic masterpiece to me. And Yoda's in the front. He's only in the film for like 5 minutes, but this to me is still the best. This is the one to beat. And Abrams couldn't do it. Ryan Johnson won't do it next year. And whoever directs Episode 9, I don't know if it's Trevorrow, the guy that did Jurassic World, or George Lucas coming back for one more time. You're still not going to top this. Sorry about that. I just didn't want the video to go like on for like 30 minutes for an hour. These films are masterpieces. This new trilogy, great start, but there's still a lot of kinks that they have to fix, especially for episode 8 and 9. So this is my review. I wanted to make it heated because I'm tired of the bitching. Okay? I'm tired of it. If you're gonna bitch about something that I had a problem with, like Rey. I don't like this actress. If I just see her face, my body starts to tense up, and she stole my manhood. Okay, yes, I'm gonna say this right now. I need to get my manhood back. What little manhood was stolen from me from her when I see Deadpool, because at least in that movie, he's gonna be the lead, not some freaking fan fiction character that we don't need. Okay, so yeah, that's my defending of The Force Awakens. I don't hate this movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. Is it the best Star Wars movie of all time? Oh, God, no. Like I said, the original trilogy is better and Revenge of the Sith is better. It is better than episode 1 and 2 because at least, some of the problems that people had, like Jar Jar and some of the comedy, was definitely toned down. And it felt PG-13. It was more darker it had some grit to it despite what these haters say. Haters are always going to hate. They just want to hate anything that's popular. It's like, oh, this movie's making tons of box office and it's getting a lot of praise and people are loving it and they're calling it great. Let me go challenge it. No, you're going to fail. If you're stuck in the past, you're going to fail. Okay? Give a movie a freaking chance for fuck's sake. I'm not seeing Rogue One because I don't want to see Felicity Jones. I didn't like her in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I won't like her as a rebel pilot. I don't buy her. And you know how that movie's going to end? You don't even need spoilers. It's going to end as soon as they get the Death Star plans, and then the movie's going to be over. Because it's a prequel. I know what's going to happen. Star Wars is everything to me. People have been bitching about these films ever since Episode 1 came out in 1999. And I'm tired of it. Tired. Give me a break, okay? I'm a guy that has loved Star Wars for my almost my entire life, and I will always be a fan. Nothing will ever steal that from me. A few nods to A New Hope and a freaking British chick and the third act could never kill this movie for me. No. And I wanted to say let that out of my basement. I was going to do the same thing back in December, or I was going to wait till March, but I could not wait any longer. I did this now, and I'm glad I did because I'm so relieved now. All that frustration for a month and a half is gone. And despite the flaws, the film is still entertaining. And there's another film I'm going to review in February. I'm not going to do it this week. It's another sci-fi movie that was flawed, but I still thought was pretty awesome. And I thought it was better than this movie, despite my love for Star Wars. Putting that aside, I still think there are better films, but there are far, far worse as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me your thoughts on The Force Awakens, but if you're going to be a ranting troll saying that you're a dumbass because you don't know what a good movie is, believe me, the films behind me are good movies. The Lego Movie, Force Awakens, Avengers 2. I don't care what anybody says, that movie was awesome. Iron Man 2. That's a sequel that got shit on upon shit on, and I still enjoy it. Okay? I will take Scarlett Johansson any day with her gorgeous lips and her green eyes and that voice. I'd rather sit through any movie with her except for The Spirit than to see Daisy Ridley act again. And she's older, okay? 31 years old. Yeah, other films, Mockingjay Part 1, freaking Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull got the same reaction that this movie got, and it got shit upon and shit upon and shit upon, and I don't think it's that bad either. But I don't want to Indy 5 because 4 ended it fine, and I don't want to see Harrison Ford die or get, they forget about him in another film. Episode 1, decent film. I don't think it's the worst movie ever made. This masterpiece right there, the original Avengers, still my favorite theatrical experience in the theater. Still, The Force Awakens could never recapture that because this movie, the last 30 minutes blew my mind. Godzilla 2014, another film that got bitched upon. Godzilla's barely in the movie. Well, did you see some of the other films in the franchise that Toho made? There's movies that he doesn't appear for almost an hour, and I still I can press on because I have to. Tron Legacy, another sequel that got shit upon when it came out, and it didn't make as much as it should have, but it made more than the original, and I still appreciate it. Korra, played by Olivia Wilde, is better than Rey every way, and she wasn't an overpowered, fan fiction character. Okay, so that puts that baby to rest. Anyway, that's my thoughts on The Force Awakens. My second favorite movie of last year. My first is always going to be Avengers 2 because that was freaking awesome. I don't care what anybody says. I'm tired of the negativity. If you're going to be a whiny bitch on YouTube, just close your account. I don't want to hear it anymore. I just don't. You can hate a movie. You know how many rants I've seen this year in the last 21 days, in the last 3 weeks? Tons. Chris Stuckman did a rant on Norm of the North. I knew that movie was going to be shit. The Black Critic guy, he did a rant on Stride Along 2. Believe me, that's a sequel that definitely deserves to be crapped on. Okay? Jeremy Johns did the same thing. He said Ride Along 2 was a sequel that was unnecessary. That's unnecessary. Something that wasn't funny to begin with, and then they do a sequel that's even worse. This at least gave me something. Okay? Something is better than nothing. You whiny bitches that say that this movie is mediocre, it doesn't live up to the original trilogy, it's an insult, it killed my childhood. No, nothing will ever do that when it comes to Star Wars, because it will live. This franchise will live forever and a day. That's my thoughts. You guys wanted it, you got it. Two parts, oh, probably an hour long, because this is my passion, man. These are the kind of movies that I want to see in the theater, not with a British chick, but with a budget, with a decent pacing, because the pacing in this movie wasn't that bad either. It's not like the first 5 minutes they burn a village and then there's no action for like an hour. That could never happen in a Star Wars movie. Even the Phantom Menace knew when to throw in an action scene now and then. And as much as I had some problems with it, I could never hate it. People are like, yeah, you should shit on it just like the prequels. No, because it didn't even remind me of the prequels that much. The kind of the CGI, but that was about it. Again, it's a movie that I will watch again, and I will hear the commentary to hear Abrams why did he cast these newbies, and why he decided to do the things he did with Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire and Jedi. I'll probably get an explanation, and the features will at least be worth the money. And I'm getting the Steelbook because I don't want to have Rey in the front of that movie. I just don't. Her face reminds me of Lena Headey from Game of Thrones and Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and The Purge, and a bunch of other films. Not a fan of her either. And in the poster, she's like this, and it's kind of like it's like they're trying to make another Natalie Portman, and you can't do better than her. I love Natalie Portman. After the prequels, guess what I saw her in? Black Swan, where she won an Oscar, rightfully so. The Thor films, Mr. Megorium, Brothers, and a bunch of other stuff. I will always love Padme Amidala Skywalker over Rey any day, because at least she didn't have force powers and then stupid shit like Rey did. It was just so forced. No pun intended. Okay? My Star Wars movies don't need a female chick like this. You could have had a girl, not a damsel in distress, but you know what? Having a tough chick in everything is a cliche now. Sicario did the same freaking thing in Edge of Tomorrow. You have Emily Blunt being tough. I don't buy it. You hear me, Hollywood? I don't buy that. I thought the girl in Ant-Man was better. At least Evangeline Lilly doesn't have a shitty accent, and at least Evangeline Lilly has had years of experience. And I can't wait to see her as Wasp. And she was a tough chick, but it didn't bother me because it's a grown ass woman, not some 20 something teeny bopper looking freaking girl. Okay? Just enough of giving me shit about this girl. I don't care about her. She is nothing to me. Like Will Ferrell said to Ben Stiller at the end of Zoolander, "You're nothing! Nothing! Nothing!" Yeah, that's a funny scene, but I'll